And to end this long of an unusual episode, we have Sunset Riders. This game I was made aware of back in an old issue of Endgamer magazine back during the lead up to the Wii's release. Each issue tended to come with a DVD, and one had the magazine staff's virtual console wishlist, a video for each confirmed console at the time. And this game was in the Super Nintendo video. I even tried it a bit when we had SNES 9X and our original Xbox, but not enough to remember much. And then later on, the cost of a second-hand physical copy was ridiculous. So I'm glad for the recent digital release of the original arcade version finally giving me a chance to play it legitimately. The game stars 4 bounty hunters, as each level they take on a wanted outlaw, with the infamy and reward money of the target increasing each level. Like I did back with Dynasty Wars, I'll cycle through each character's playthrough every 2 levels since there are 8 of them. So going in character select order, we have Steve. The first level has me after Simon Greedwell. I can fire in 8 directions and jump, and can also enter doors to get booze, and a badge that powers up my bullets. Steve fights with a single revolver. I get the kind of enemies you'd expect, guys wielding guns or knives. I can also shoot hanging barrels to flatten enemies below. Some are hiding in hay, and while aiming down at them from below, I learn that jumping while crouching triggers a slide. There are women with sticks of dynamite and a power-up that lets me hold 2 guns at once. As I reach the end of this ranch, I face a stampede of bulls where I have to jump on top and I'm told to keep running to avoid being killed. I reach a bridge and annihilate everyone, one guy still managing to set it on fire first. But I can drop below and walk under it. The next dynamite woman I shoot is close enough that I can pick up her dynamite and throw it at other enemies. I end up running across another stampede. This one tries to trip you up a bit by having a few gaps for you to drop in. Past that is Simon Greedwell. He hides behind a pair of barrels on the second floor and uses a shotgun, all while the usual gunmen enemies hang out the window and try shooting me too. The barrels protect him, so I keep shooting them first. I don't think it through though, so when the barrels are knocked over, they land right on top of me and kill me. But after that I can just hang under Simon, dodging bullets and shooting him in the dick until he's dealt with. He falls down and asks to be buried with his money. Level 2 sends me after Hawkeye Hank Hatfield. This one has me on a horse running alongside a train track shooting other men off their horses. Some horses are ridden only by sacks containing power-ups. This lets me easily take back what I lost to that barrel. But I lose it when I tail this carriage and some arsehole throws a log out that trips my horse and kills me. But I knock it over and make it explode surprisingly violently. Then the train shows up from behind. It slowly overtakes me as I shoot all its passengers out its windows, along with those riding up from below. Some are even hiding inside barrels. I clear the train of everyone riding it. The train stops at the station and I get off my horse when I get there. The train sets off to reveal Hank. He dodges behind these crates for cover while calling in several gunmen for backup. He gets a few kills on me as my attempts at dodging result in me jumping into his bullets. And hitting him becomes a little bit tougher when you only have the one gun. But my unlimited credits lets me exhaust all of his bodyguards and eventually wear him down. When close to death, he'll jump across the cracks to my side of the screen and become more aggressive, but at that point he doesn't last long. After that comes a shooting gallery minigame. I can aim in 8 directions and have to shoot the gunmen when they appear. Out of 50, I managed to shoot 41. But the second character I went through as got 46 out of 50. My third target is Dark Horse. For the next 2 stages I'll be playing as Billy. He's Steve, but slightly weaker. I go in the hotel for a drink and a gun power up and get blasting. I can shoot down a bag of rocks to crush an enemy and soon regain Billy's own dual revolvers. Blow through a few more enemies and enter another building to come out getting a kiss and 2 grand's worth of gold dust for it. I don't think he's the one who's supposed to get paid here. I just keep moving forward, shooting more enemies off the roofs, some trying to drop barrels on me at the same time. After a few more buildings I have to climb across a fire on the rope, the one that caused it burning himself to death too. But I'm still not used to dodging while hanging, so I get myself killed again. But the next building I enter has a woman pay me in more guns. Hang on, this is a bank. Mine certainly doesn't do that. A little further is a saloon and Dark Horse shows up, riding a dark horse. And of course there are gunmen shooting from the windows. The horse can block my bullets, and when he rides at me I have to jump up onto the second floor. He'll fire 3 shots at a time, which results in a death when I drop down to avoid them and land right into a kick from the horse. Soon after I manage to finish him off without dying again. A woman gets knocked out of the saloon saying that the terrible men inside did it, so I go in to sort it out. How lucky to be right outside my next target, the Smith brothers. The level takes place on one screen with 2 balconies and a chandelier up above. The brothers are on the balconies while normal enemies are on the swaying chandelier. I start by freeing the tied up woman to get my dual revolvers back once again. The one on the right throws down candles to create huge flames, while the one on the left throws bombs down. I die and then get to work on the sign blocking shots at the left brother. I destroy it and can shoot him much easier. With him killed, I can free the woman tied up behind him and get my guns back once again. I can then hang out here and keep shooting the other one, only needing the odd jump to avoid his candles. He goes down and the three women I save put on a show that Billy is so thrilled at that he turns and looks away from it. They tell me about Richard Rose, the game's main villain, but he has 3 sidekicks that need to be taken out before I can reach him. First is El Greco. I'm also swapping to my 3rd playthrough as Bob. This level has me walking along a moving train wiping out everyone. Bob fights with a rifle, 2 of them with big bullets when fully powered up. The combination of the big spread and this being my 3rd playthrough means I just demolish the enemy while I move from carriage to carriage. It's only when I'm a little too close to an explosion that I finally get killed here. That separated the previous carriages and next I have to avoid rolling logs. Despite losing my power-ups, Bob's default single rifle still has better range than the last 2 characters with its slight spread. And when I'm getting on top of carriages I also have to watch out for poles and avoid getting knocked off. And just crouching isn't good enough. After a few of those, El Greco reveals himself. He has a shield and a whip, but at this point I know how to manipulate him. I keep jumping between carriages to make him do the same and get the odd shot in while he's mid-jump. It's ages before he even manages to throw out a single attack, and even longer before he can hit me with one. But by then he's so close to death that he doesn't last much longer. He throws his sombrero and falls off the train. I have another shooting gallery game here, and I get 45 out of 50. Next up we have Chief Wigwam. And here we have what can happen when your game is inspired by old imported westerns, but you are not from America and lack some important context. You include a level where you play as a cowboy taking out hundreds of Native Americans, including some that were given skin so red that they're almost purple. As I said, I believe this was done out of cluelessness and not malice, the result of watching films from another country and taking inspiration without knowing all about its history. It seems someone told the devs something after release because the console port and this digital version even renamed the boss. Originally, Chief Wigwam was called Chief Scalpum. If this level just had the usual enemies, like I believe the localized Super Nintendo port does, I could see it being one of the game's best levels. It already has my favourite music track in the game, and mixing up the level design by swapping pure left to right with changing direction and a lot more vertical movement is a nice change. Chief Wigwam is at the end, jumping between rocks while throwing 3 swords at once that are easy enough to avoid. Like the last boss, he's only truly vulnerable in the middle of a jump. And like the last boss, he only gets a kill in when he's nearly dead, although in his case he gets free after missing me all fight beforehand. On his defeat, his sister appears to beg that he be spared. He isn't working for Richard Rose of his own will, he's being blackmailed in some way that's never explained. That just leaves the final sidekick, Paco Loco. I start this one on a horse, and for these last 2 levels I'll be playing as the game's best character, Cormano. He wears a bright pink poncho and can dual-wield shotguns, how can he not be the best? Especially when he gets his bullet power up and second shotgun and becomes an absolute beast with a bigger spread than Bob. I'm not even sure why Steve and Billy exist the way they do when Cormano and Bob are just better. I know they needed 4 characters for the 4-player machine, but that means that 2 of your friends are screwed over, unless they intended for you to make the friends you don't like play as those. As for the level, horse gameplay is the same as it was earlier. And Cormano is so good I shoot my way through it without any deaths. But it ends when I get off and face Paco Loco when the enemy in front of me shoots me in the back. The normal shotgun is still very good though. He fires 2 shots at once that aren't actually hard to avoid, but I just had a bit of trouble getting used to them. He's also really slow to change his direction, so I just keep jumping and shooting until he falls over dead. He comes up for one more try, but misses every shot and dies for real. This lets me go for Sir Richard Rose in the game's final level. He has a whole fortress over a river to take on, complete with explosives that engulf the entire screen. Got everyone piling on screen, either from off screen or from any doors or windows, followed by more ropes over the fire, and all while blowing up more buildings. After a bit we have a guy with a Gatling gun, but Cormano's amazing spread goes over the crates and takes him out no trouble. I can then take that gun myself and use it to shoot through the fence in front of me. Past that I ride a big water wheel up to the next floor and get moving left. I avoid all the dynamite the women throw at me, but then fall for a boulder rolling down the hill. And this is my 4th playthrough. At the top I take another Gatling gun and blow up the next fence with it. I get on this long wall and get running all the way up. And at the top is Richard Rose's mansion, with the man revealing himself. He hangs out on his balcony lazily resting on a statue while shooting at me with a revolver. His pattern isn't hard at all, but the backup gunmen getting in the way or acting as a distraction make it easy to not notice his bullets. Eventually I destroy his balcony and he falls to my level. He keeps trying to shoot me while somersaulting and sliding around the screen, but his body actually can't take that many bullets before he is defeated. But then he gets back up and reveals that he had a metal sheet under his shirt all along, that he lets fall out, so now I can kill him for real.
I say, bit of bad luck.
The characters get their reward money and ride off into the sunset. Sunset Riders is the best game to appear in this episode. It's so satisfying mowing down your enemies with a great soundtrack and never gets old. It's just a shame about that 6th level. Without it, I would have no complaints about this game. Well, aside from the Revolver characters being worse than the other two, but even then the game is still great while playing as them. We're talking a game that is definitely breaking the current top 40 and may come close to the top 30. I still haven't decided the exact ranking yet as I write this.